YouTube? This is Rapscallion, and today I have a few things to talk about because, it's been a while. It's been a minute since I last uploaded because, to tell you the truth, I've been very busy. I've been up to a lot more than I am used to, and, well, not so long ago, the most I would do in a week is go to the laundromat, and after that, I'd be spent. I would be out of commission for the whole week. That was the most I could do. But lately, things have been changing for the better, I think. And there are a few things I want to go over in this video, to update you on what's been going on in my life. But, I wanted to start off by addressing my last video because it did garner a bit of a response. There was some feedback that I'd like to address and respond to. I'm not calling anyone out in particular, but I just wanted to respond to the general consensus, that vibe in the air, the reaction that video got. If you're unaware, if you have not bothered to watch that video, basically, I'm dating Ash Rose, who, is a troon, a trans girl, and to me, that isn't really a big deal anymore. I mean, that used to be something I was very intolerant of because, of course, being the miserable chud that I am, I had very strong feelings towards that sort of thing. I mean, clearly not strong enough given the 180 I've taken regarding my opinion on that topic. I mean, not a complete 180, of course, because let's just say I'm a bit more open-minded now, obviously. So some people, they did seem happy for me. They were happy that I was happy. They congratulated me, which is nice, and I do appreciate that a lot. And others were critical, concerned, perhaps. Some people questioned whether or not I was in my right mind, There was this one guy who, he basically left a whole essay, saying that the only reason I felt the way I did was because I had never been shown romantic attention before, and that my feelings would quickly fade away or something. I am pleased to report that, 2 weeks later, I still feel just as strongly for her, and I suspect I will continue to feel that way regardless of how some chud inky on the internet feels about it. And I'm not saying that because I'm like offended or upset or anything. I just wanted to say that, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think that dating someone who's trans, a trans girl, is preferable to being alone forever. I think that dating someone who likes you and appreciates you for who you are is preferable to being bitter and angry for the rest of your life. And I would encourage you, if you are ever in the position, if you ever have the choice between being a little bit more open-minded and being single forever, I would say, why not just give it a shot, right? uh, why not? Just go for it. Why not? Uh, but also, one more thing I am, on this topic that I want to bring up. Again, not because I am offended. I'm really not. And I know the more I say I'm not offended, the more it seems like I've taken offense. But, truthfully speaking, I don't really have like thin skin or anything like that. I I've been called a lot of names in my life. I've been called plenty of things. I've been called gay plenty of times. It's just kind of something that happens when you are. I don't really want to use like a black pill terminology too much, but when you're someone like me, I'll just say, um, you can infer what that means, I suppose. Uh, I just want to say right now that, I'm not gay. So I don't know why I said that so defensively. I mean, okay, look, I'm just saying I'm not gay. I've never once been interested in men. In before, you're dating one now, though. Yeah, okay, yeah. Good one. You're very clever. I didn't see that coming. Uh, Anyways, speaking of my relationship, I won't bang on about it for too much longer. Don't worry. I just I wanted to say that things have been good. I've been very happy and content for the most part, which is nice. It's nice to feel that way after being so miserable for so long. And let me tell you, I did have some bad ideas in my head not too long ago, but now I feel rejuvenated. I feel happy, and I think it's long overdue. Uh, I think it's about time someone like me gets to taste happiness. Not to sound too arrogant, but I think it's well deserved. Uh, what else? Um, Sorry, I was just looking at something. Yeah, she just kind of motivates me to be a better person. As good of a person as I can be anyway. Like, I've been back on that weight loss grind, which I'll talk about a bit. There is no greater motivation than having someone who you want to do right by, To have someone who, I want to say someone who you want to impress, but it's not, it's more like, she already loves me for who I am, and I just want to feel worthy of that love. I don't know if that's like strange or, I mean, I think that's normal to feel that way. And if you think it's abnormal, I guess I would just say to you that it it's something you have to experience to understand, Which sounds so fucked up now that I've said it, but sometimes that's just how it is. And I said as much to a friend of mine not too long ago. You may know him, FM. I came up with this absolute banger of a quote, and you're gonna love this. When you say this to other people, you will quote Rapscallion. I says to him, no one would play. What did I say? No one would play claw machines if there were no prizes to be won. Okay, yeah, it sounded a lot better before I had said it out loud, but still, I thought that it was a fucking brilliant metaphor. All right, I think that's enough about me, yapping, going on about my relationship. Because that's just not relatable, is it? Uh, Certainly not to my audience. No shade or anything, but sorry if you can hear my brother in the back. I should probably edit that out or like re-record it or something, but fuck it. We'll do it live. This is a scuffed channel. He's making so much fucking noise. I mean, it is his house, but kill me, kill me, kill me. All right. I guess I'll talk more about losing weight. It's it's hard and it sucks. And exercising is not something that is enjoyable in the slightest yet. I know they say it's supposed to feel good eventually, but I'm beginning to suspect that they're all a bunch of masochists. Uh, but slowly and surely I am losing weight. I'm like 210 pounds right now, and my goal is somewhere around 160 or so. I think that's like the healthiest weight I can be given my height. And I'm just using a very simple formula to lose weight. I'm 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 calorie deficit maxing and exercising. I'm not doing any diets or anything like that just because I don't I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. I'm not like a nutritionist, and I'm too low IQ to like research that kind of shit. So I'm just very simply not eating as much, and I'm like sticking to one meal a day with plenty of water. And I'm gonna start going on runs pretty soon once I'm like settled into my new place. Until I can afford like a gym membership, that is. I really do want to get into very good shape. Um, Pretty much like as best shape as I can be in. I want to go all the way. I want to look good, and I will. I will succeed. And I'm actually so committed to losing weight and getting in shape that I have come off my meds. I cut myself off cold turkey like 2 weeks ago. And I assure you the timing is no coincidence. It's no secret that happy pills, normal pills, whatever you want to call them, it's no secret that SSRIs make you fat. And the combination that I was taking, God fucking damn it, hold on. Alright, sorry about that. Sorry if you heard that ping, that Discord notification. I was just talk maxing for a bit. I was chat maxing. Get out. What was I saying? Yeah, I was taking Zoloft and Abilify, which, that specific combination is apparently known for making you into a great big lard ass. And I did experience a lot of weight gain in a pretty short amount of time, like a few months. And I think it's because not only do they increase your appetite, but they also slow down your metabolism. So I just said fuck it and like came off them. And surprisingly, I have had no withdrawal symptoms these past 2 weeks. I mean, I have felt pretty good for the most part. I did have one or two episodes, but I am going through a lot of changes in my life, so that is to be expected, right? Sorry if you can hear my brother. He's like fucking clabbering around like an ogre. But I've just been overwhelmed lately. To tell you the truth. And there have been times where I have doubted my decision to come off of them, especially Abilify, since Zoloft I don't really care about, but Abilify is not just like this basic bitch SSRI. It's actually an antipsychotic for my bipolar disorder. And I have had sort of these intrusive thoughts creep back up, which isn't something I had dealt with while I was taking Abilify. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, I guess. But I don't know. I think, frankly, it's worth being a little bit schizo if I can manage to lose this weight, especially now that I have someone, who can keep me in check and all that. And, I just want to say that this has been a pretty huge year for me. I cannot stress that enough. Coming from someone who had spent years and years doing nothing. I mean, I was literally like a NEET for 6 years. I mean, not technically a NEET since I was homeschooled, but I did fuck all, and I'd consider myself not to be in education at that point because I never graduated, so it was all a waste of time, and it's not like I did anything, so I was not being educated or trained or anything like that, and I certainly wasn't working. I mean, I did help my mom in her shop a bit, but it was hardly working. Mostly, like these past 6 years, I was just in this depressed stupor for years, and it all really culminated this year. I had turned 20, and I realized that I kind of wasted my shot at life, and that I had become nothing. I had nothing going for me, and I really reached my lowest point this year. Earlier this year, I I really just wanted to act. I was just thinking about rope maxing 24/7. It was all I could think about. I couldn't focus on anything else, and it was just the worst, most terrible feeling I could imagine. And I remember I would just take these sleeping pills so that I would spend as little time as conscious as possible, and I'd sleep in until like 6 p.m. and then go back to sleep at like midnight. And I really don't want to like bring the mood down and like really be a doomer or anything, but I think it's important to talk about because I was just so ready to go. I was ready to catch the bus, as it were. I would spend all my time on certain websites, on a particular forum dedicated to self deletion, and it was just something I had fantasized about at all times. I couldn't stop myself from thinking about it. I I had a plan. I had the means to do it. I had even gone out and surveyed a spot to do it, and all that I had left to do was actually just commit. And it makes me kind of emotional that I can now say I'm glad I didn't, because things have turned around for me, and I found hope to continue living. And I really think that's something that anyone can do, to be honest. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a GF or anything. I think it can be whatever. Like, after I was Baker acted, after I was, institutionalized, I was just kind of listless and lost. And I mean, I suppose I felt glad that I didn't act, but I still didn't really have a reason to live. But I continued on, and I eventually found one. And now I'm here at 20 years old, and I'm trying my best to just turn things around. I'm eagerly filling out applications, looking forward to my first real job. I'm looking forward to getting my license, and I figure eventually I'm going to pass that damn GED exam. I'm gonna crack it. I mean, it is kind of designed for retards to pass, and surely, surely I'm not a retard. And well, I don't think things will be a breeze from now on. I don't think it'll all come easy. It never really has. But I feel now I have the strength, I have the motivation to seize the day. And that's all you really need, I think. And, I mean, to tell you the truth, lately, recently I've been feeling pretty burnt out. And, like yesterday, I won't lie, I felt like balls. I was super depressed despite what I had said about having the strength and the motivation and blah blah blah. I still have rainy days, and I've been up to a lot lately. I've been doing a lot. Like, I moved out of my little chud trailer. I don't live with my dad anymore. I moved in with my brother, so I'm still kind of semi independent. I mean, obviously, I still live with family, but he expects me to pay rent and be a good tenant, and he's certainly not as forgiving as my parents would be of me just doing nothing, right? I'm getting a job because I have to, but also because I want to. And well, it's taken a bit out of me, to be honest. Just settling in to a brand new environment. I've never really been good with change. In fact, it's something I've always hated. Is change. Uh, like it's always taken me longer to process and to adapt to new things, and I think that's just autism, to be honest. Um, and it is hard to do. It's hard to cope. I guess, but I'm coping. I'm coping my fucking balls off, and despite my anxiety and my unease, it feels good. The fact that things are changing, the fact that I am changing, um, even though it's been overwhelming, I think Chud's law has been disproven. Stuff is happening, if you can believe it. Stuff always happens. Everything always happens all the time. It's so true. And yeah, I just really want to keep up this momentum I have, to be honest. I want to continue to grow, and maybe, just maybe, I will make it, and maybe you will too. And I did have an interview recently at well, I'm not gonna say where I had it, but at a store. There you go. I had an interview at this big fucking retail store, supermarket, and I um I was really nervous, because I've never been in an interview before. I've never really had a job. Like, I worked for my mom technically in her little shop, but obviously I didn't have an interview, and I just like barely did anything. I mean, I made soap. I was Tyler Durden. I made soap. That's what I did. I made and I packaged soap, and I would ring people up sometimes. That was it. And so yeah, at this place, I had my interview, and it was something I was very nervous over. I was very stressed and anxious and scared, I suppose, but I was still eager to have it. And it was the most underwhelming shit in the world. And I feel like a fucking idiot for feeling so scared. I mean, like, the guy, he looked like a pirate. He was this big Bloatmax pirate cell. He had like one tooth and a big beard. And I kept staring at his tooth, and I think that's probably the reason why I haven't gotten an email back yet. It's been like 4 days. But he asked me like 3 questions. How old are you? What is your past experience? And when would you be able to work? And I can't really remember if he asked me anything else. And, I answered all that shit. And then he said, all right, check your email a couple days from now. And I said, yeah, thanks, bro. And it's been a couple days and I still have nothing. So I have been applying to more places, but this isn't very interesting. So I'm going to wrap it up, buddy. Wrap it up, buddy. So yeah, that's kind of all I really wanted to go over. I think I'm just, dare I say it, I feel hopeful for the future. I feel like, hopeful for the future. What am I looking forward to? To being a wage cuck? But at least I have something to work towards, right? To work for. I've got a goal. I've got a GF. And that's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I think that's about it. This video is getting a bit long. I would have liked it to be longer, to be honest, because it has been a while. But I'm just way to the point, way too to the point. At least I think so. I can't go on for too long. Anyway, yeah, I think that's about it. Until next time.